I'm Michael Hoffman. Good to see y'all.
And we are with Positively
Outrageous Service.
And today we're going to talk about how caring in a time of crisis elevates customer loyalty. So why do you think that's important, Michael?
Well, it's tremendously important, I think, especially in these times and facing this pandemic that we're all facing, this worldwide pandemic, has really elevated the need to do things on purpose and to think about things on purpose. And I think that's really what we've been all about in the book Positively Outrageous Service, is helping organizations identify the things that we do and say on purpose to have real impact on creating loyalty, establishing loyalty, and becoming that not only employer of choice, but a resource of choice, to be seen as a resource versus a vendor. And now is a classic time to really go out of our ways to say, what are we doing on purpose to create those moments of loyalty that will last
exactly.
for a long time.
And we have two choices in this unprecedented time in history. We can retreat and bunker down, or we can advance. And it's the brave ones. When you think about, what happened at 9/11 and other periods in history, the Second World War, it's those organizations and individuals that said, no, I'm not going to retreat. I will advance and take ground. But what we're advocating is you don't do that by killing other people. We do it by loving on people. And in this case, we're going to have a couple of episodes.
We really don't recommend that we kill other people.
So that's today we're going to talk about how to love on your customers in creative ways in this unprecedented era.
You said something that is really the whole reason behind this, is that, whenever we find ourselves in a global crisis like this. Actually, that sounds weird. That whole phrase sounds weird. Whenever we find ourselves in, we've never been in a situation like this, at least in my recent memory of this. However, it is unprecedented. But every once in a while, we have found ourselves in situations where you are very aware of the fact that I have to do something on purpose here. Have you ever been in that situation where you are well aware that what's about to happen better be done right? Whether it's a phone call or whether I'm facing somebody where I am well aware of the fact that what's about to come out of my mouth better be right. Otherwise, it could explode. It could go nuts. Well, I think that's kind of what's happening all over the place. And in a way, we've already seen that that sort of that self-focus, that retreat, and the advance already playing out. I mean, when things first started to happen and how everybody reacted to this whole idea of we may be quarantined for 2 weeks, it may be 4 months, whatever it's going to be. We're still facing that, and then we went ape nuts. We started hoarding all the toilet paper and the food and everything.
But you're already starting to see those glimpses of hope. You're seeing it in Europe. You're seeing it in this country, and there's some wonderful examples of companies that are being unselfish, individuals and companies.
And that's really my point, and the reason why this topic is important is we're starting to see that change of, okay, we can actually relax and take a breath here. And what we want to accomplish today is to give you some ideas on what an organization can do to really take advantage of this and to show our caring nature for our people to create loyalty. Because like you said before, whether it was World War II or whether it was 9/11, the stories that are remembered are the ones where people took these types of actions to
those
be positively
heroes and heroines.
Yes, absolutely.
That decided, no, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to do something on purpose, and I will advance and not retreat. Because nobody remembers people who retreat.
And we were talking a little bit about some of the things that kind of showed up at first, and you were talking about how you really appreciated what Mark Cuban did.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's fascinating. When they first announced that the NBA was basically shutting down.
Yeah, that was really the first big one.
And if you think about, it's not just about the NBA. You think about the fallout. What else? All those, the parking lot attendant, the concession stands, the people who are in security at the arenas. There is thousands of people that make an NBA game possible. And Mark Cuban did something that I think
he was the first one I heard of doing.
Yeah. And what did he do, Michael?
Well, he made an announcement that he was going to ensure that through these next couple of weeks, when the NBA was going to shut down, actually through the season, that the people that were involved, at least in his arena, were still going to be paid. And that it wasn't going to be a major disruption on their part. And that's the first one that I heard that had made that type of thing. You're seeing more and more organizations say, okay, let's really think this through. How can we keep our people going and they're starting to make it. But Mark was really the first one that really that took that,
and it has
that
a ripple
verbally.
effect because it's not just
awesome.
Not just the players he's taking care of; he's taking care of everyone. So that ripple effect. It's about the principle is give, which is really fundamental to positively outrageous service. Is you give. The more you give, guess what? The more you get.
And I really think it's important that we talk about that first, because it was the attitude of really paying attention to who else is involved in this. Sometimes as an organization, we can focus on our deadlines, we can focus on our products, we can focus on the things that we have to get done, but we're not focusing on the people that it's impacting, whether it's our customers or our internal customers, the people that we work with. So I really appreciated that first look and that first approach, and really being the catalyst for saying, well, here's what we're doing.
Yeah.
So to have us think about, what are you doing in the people that all of this ripple is affecting, and what should we do as an organization to make sure that we're all covered?
Yeah. Here's another example of giving, and talk about, and this person basically is turning his whole business and his whole industry upside down. It's fascinating. Louis Vuitton in France, who is one of the wealthiest people. They've got Givenchy and all kinds of different brands, and including several perfume brands, and he's turning his factories away from making perfumes, but into making hand sanitizer, which is then going to give away for free to the people in France. How about that for being positively outrageous?
It reminds me of all hands on deck, like the old days. Like my dad, I'm 8 of 9 kids. My parents were older, right? So I'm frankly just lucky that I'm here, to be honest with you, because there's no way statistically I should be. So I'm just grateful. But my dad was in World War II. He was a Top Gun on a B-24 in World War II. And he would tell, my mom would just have all these stories of just having to live differently. A matter of fact, I saw, and you get them on YouTube, grandmas that are telling their stories and really kind of getting on people for hoarding because that's not the philosophy. The philosophy is ration. It's to take what you need and to make sure that those around you have what you need. And so when I hear the story about Louis Vuitton and what he's doing with his factory, it's kind of like, okay, what's needed and how can we, repurpose and re-go for the greater good? The fact that he's giving it away is just kudos to Louis Vuitton, because that really is a part of the global community that is a wonderful example.
It's fantastic.
That's outrageous, man.
Yeah, that's
positively outrageous. Service
yeah.
to humanity. That's great.
All right, so obviously these are Mark Cuban, Louis Vuitton, big names. I know also Bill Gates is giving $100 million to research into a vaccine and so forth. But I know some of you listening are smaller businesses, and what can you do to still connect with the customers in a way that is so they don't forget about you, and that you stay top of mind. And one of the things, I was in marketing for 20 years, and my mantra was with clients, your strategic objective is to have your clients, prospects, and referrals think of you first, often, and well. Have your prospects, referral sources, and clients think of you first, often, and well. So in an era where we are now socially distancing, we are appropriate distance away from each other.
Knuckles are appropriate.
Nothing. Where's your hands been?
Exactly. Do you wash those knuckles?
I'd rather you hug me, actually.
I know. I would prefer the chicken wing handshake is going to be it's going to be so huge from now on.
So what are the ways we connect? Yes, you can certainly make a phone call, but there's nothing like video. In fact, what we're doing right now, we now have the technologies. It's not like it was 20 years ago. It's easy to connect with people on video instead of just having that phone call or conference call. What about using tools like Zoom and Skype and so forth, so that you can actually see the people and they can see you? And so using video or making videos for them. As speakers, we've had every engagement canceled or postponed. But overnight. It's interesting. We've reached out to a few people.
Decimated.
We've had 2, 3, 4 people now just in the last 24 hours. What we've done is we've offered them, hey, I'm sorry we can't be at your conference, your meeting. How about if we make a video for you? And they're going like, wow, that would be fantastic. And that makes them look good. Now, we're obviously giving it to them, but that also makes that association, that meeting planner look really good. And it keeps them engaged with all of their customers, so to speak.
And that's really is the example of that Louis Vuitton type of approach, which is, okay, what's needed in this situation and how can we adjust, even if it's temporary. Like, for instance, the schools that are having to not have the kids come into the building are now really on a very large scale trying to figure out how we do the long distance learning. It's been there, but it's never had to be used at this precedented level. So what can we take advantage of and do differently and still serve the people that we've been given charge to serve? That's the creativity that's needed
and it's
right
not
now.
that hard. I was talking to an old friend of mine yesterday, and they went from, I think it's a junior high school, and on Friday they had no virtual capabilities. I know a lot of universities and so forth, they already have those capabilities. This school had no Friday, they didn't have those capabilities. By Monday, his daughter was taking a calculus test in a lockdown browser, so she couldn't be looking at the other things.
And tremendously happy about it. They figured that out.
And they figured it out literally within a couple of days, the ability to connect through video, through the web. Another example, simple example. Yesterday or last night, they announced in the Dallas area, Dallas County, that all gyms were closing, swimming pools, etc., etc. So I got an email from my yoga studio saying, okay, no more classes as of this evening. And
next couple of weeks.
Tomorrow, at 8:30, we're going to have an online class. So you can join us from the home, because we're at home right now. So they're using video, using the web to connect to their customers.
Time to get creative, people.
Yes. So use video, use the web to get online and connect and keep that connection going. All right, so what's some other things that people can be doing is, obviously one of the concerns, especially, is with the elderly. And I love what the Dollar General stores announced. And obviously the elderly and those with respiratory issues and certain health issues, they need to be self-quarantined. They need to be keeping away from everybody else, because they're the ones most at risk. Mm-hmm. And what the Dollar General store, they announced on just yesterday, on Monday, that the first hour when the store is at its cleanest and everything is moderately well stocked. I mean, as well stocked as it's going to be for that day. That first hour is exclusively for senior shoppers. Brilliant idea. Brilliant.
Yeah. What are you doing to say, okay, who are the people that we serve, and how do we meet their needs and do it creatively?
Yeah.
That's a really good thought. The three pillars of positively outrageous service that everything is based on are really very simple, but they're quite useful when we're going to do brainstorming like this. One is out of proportion to the circumstances. Yeah. And right now, there is no better reason to be out of proportion than we are facing something that's unprecedented. And what we're about to do does not have the foundation in anything. It's just us looking at the situation saying, what can we do as leaders and managers to be out of proportion to the circumstances? Yeah. So don't be afraid to make those big choices and to say, we're going to try this. And some things are not going to work. Some things are going to be, well, that was unnecessary. But the fact that you took that you took the chance to be out of proportion to the circumstances is going to really serve you well in being seen as a resource versus a vendor. And that's really what the point is. So the three pillars are out of proportion to the circumstances.
Yeah, another pillar is having fun.
Having fun and random and unexpected.
And random and unexpected. Yes. So that was totally random. I didn't expect that email to come in from the yoga studio. Yeah. It's out of proportion to the circumstance, because I was immediately because I got an email from my swimming pool, from my gym, and from my yoga studio, all saying that no, you're out of luck. And I work out every day just about, and it's like, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to go outside and maybe go for a run, but I can't run every day. But, so all of a sudden they came up with a creative idea. So it was definitely out of proportion to the circumstances, random and unexpected. And I've already seen it's kind of fun. People are all participating in it, and they're having some fun. But there's other ways to have fun too. And it's been interesting watching some of the videos in other countries, and who are in even greater lockdown than some of our cities here in this country, and they're having some fun. I love the video. It was on BBC in Italy, where people are at a certain point, they came out and they started singing the national anthem from their balconies, and they were singing "Everything is All Right" in Italian, obviously.
This was a coordinated thing. I think that's the point, is that this was a coordinated event where people came out on their balconies and they said, hey, at this time we're going to do this. And they came out onto the balconies and people were singing and they had a song to sing. They sang the national anthem. I love the fact that there was one thing that they did was at a certain point, everybody came out and just openly applauded
the healthcare workers.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was in Portugal.
Yeah, I get a little verklempt thinking about it.
Yeah, it was like, it's fantastic.
Yeah. And here's the point. The point is that these things have to be coordinated. They have to be thought of. They've got to be done on purpose, and that's where the leadership of the management comes in, is to be out of proportion. To me, that's the out of proportion.
Right.
It's like, who does that? Who does this? Well, we should do that.
Yes.
Our neighborhood should do that.
Yeah.
Go out of your way to be that big and say, let's do something. But look at the ramifications. What was needed. Talk about having fun. Oh my gosh! In a time that, especially Italy, they are knee deep in it. I talk about a pandemic. I mean, they're decimated.
It's the worst outside of China.
And there is nothing that will impact the morality more than little things like that of having fun. Well,
you had opera singers who came out and sang an aria to their neighborhood. I mean, it's just
strong choices, people. That's what we're talking about. Strong
choices. And to Michael's point, on purpose, out of proportion to the circumstances, and and very intentional. So yes, we can have fun. And what are ways you could have some fun with your customers on purpose, out of proportion to the circumstances.
Yeah. The more you actually tap into me and show that you care about me, without trying to sell me anything. Now is not the time to sell. Now is the time to give and to connect and to have that people stuff. So reaching out to see how we're doing, what we're doing, how we feeling going through all of this, and know that we are a part of what's going on versus a victim of what's going on is going to set you apart from everybody else.
Exactly, and they will remember that. They'll remember the heroes and heroines of this period who went out of their way to make me feel special, and you have that opportunity. Every one of you have that opportunity. So there's also some other elements, and that is, ask questions. We so overlook this, but that's the difference between leaders and managers. Managers, you don't want to manage your customers. Who wants to be managed? Are you going to lead your customers? And the way to lead is through questions, powerful questions. What is it you need? Sometimes, we think we know what the customer wants, but there's nothing like asking, what do you need? It's a simple question, but it's amazing what you will learn from that.
Yeah, if you're not going out of your way to seek where your people are at, whether it's internal or external, then you're playing darts with a blindfolder on. So this may be an opportunity to reach out to your people and find out how they're doing. What do they need? What do your customers need? What do they expect from what you provide? Now's the time to do that. And speaking of that internal and external, one of the things that we would really recommend that we find organizations that really get positively outrageous service is you can't have two faces. It starts from within. So to go out of your way to empower your employees to do those three things: be random and unexpected, be out of proportion to the circumstances, have fun where fun is needed, especially now. If we're not having fun, it's way too stressful right now in thinking about what could happen. So we need to have fun. Those three principles are actually ignited through the management. And the more you allow your people, you let them know what's okay and what are within the boundaries, but more importantly, you acknowledge it and you foster it and you let them know that you're appreciative for them doing those things will have your people owning those interactions. Like I said, we can't have two faces. You're not going to say we need to have great customer service, but we don't set it up internally first. It doesn't work that way.
Exactly.
So go out of your way to empower the people that you work with to be the face, and the actions that you want is going to serve you well in creating loyalty with your customers.
As a leader, you have the responsibility to ignite that fire of customer excellence and that positively outrageous service. But when you start serving your people, like Michael says, and empowering them in that way, here's the beauty of that. Because now your people are the ones who are in the front line dealing with the customers. And for every 1% improvement in how they feel, that actually equates to a 2% improvement in customer customer satisfaction.
That's the stats, folks.
That's the stats. So focus not just externally. Yes, we don't be intentional and so forth, but also focus on internal. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in our next episode. But that's one of the ways you can actually impact the external by focusing on the internal. Empower your team, ignite that positive, outrageous service internally. Ask great questions from them too. As we talked about, we just talked about questions, but what do you need? All of a sudden, a lot of people are working in isolation. What do they need in order for them to be able to serve their customers? And finally, things will go wrong, okay? And especially in this,
as they often do.
They always do anyway. But whenever it's disparate and working isolated, there's things that will go wrong. Customers will get upset about things because that it didn't hit at that time, or this was wrong, or that's wrong, because we're dependent.
Or we're asking our people to be out of proportion to the circumstances, and they get way out of proportion.
Yeah.
And they're very generous with our stuff.
Yeah. And people are much more stressed, whether it's our customers or internally. Everybody's a lot more stressed. So grace and forgiveness is paramount. And you know what? It starts with you. You first. When you extend grace, actually the person who has the power is the one who says sorry first. So you say sorry first. Extend that grace and forgiveness to others. Be the first to say sorry. Be the first to forgive. Be the first to extend grace.
Yeah, nice recap, Andrew. I have to tell you that I say that a lot. I have to tell you, because sometimes I have to tell you. You like that, Ed? I have to tell you. It's not like I want to.
No.
I gotta. Yeah. But I really do. I think we just have to emphasize the idea that this is a time for heroes. We will
and
know
heroines.
somebody's skill, and heroines. Yes, I meant that generally. We will know the people with skills under pressure, and right now we're all feeling it. Absolutely, everybody's feeling it. And this is the time where we're going to make stories that make either the people working there saying, "This is why I work here," or they're going to have your people saying, "This is why I shop here," because of the things that you do and the things that you say. And when you do them on purpose, our organizations have the possibility to become positively outrageous. Yeah, let's do that again, because I think a stronger ending would be, look, if you liked what you heard today.
Yeah. Well, check us out a little bit more on also on our blog, positivelyoutrageousservice.com/blog. And we have podcasts. We have several other tips and things. And I know we went through a lot today. There's a blog post. We're going to put that out there today.
A little recap for you.
And we look forward to you becoming positively
outrageous.